I think are live now.
Oh, did he just drop? Oops.
Yeah.
He'll be back.
Well,
Hi, everyone. Good
I didn't hit
afternoon.
any buttons. It wasn't me.
Just drop. Oops.
Yeah.
Funny thing, Tilly, I was like, I literally, the first person I looked at was you. I was like, what did Tilly do? She's infamous for booting us from meetings.
Oh, no.
I hit the wrong button most. I just like to bring humor to your life, Marciano.
As we wait for Ricky to get back on, thank you everyone for joining us on YouTube. This is our College Council meeting. Today is March 22nd, 2022.
Just dealing with technical issues. Who doesn't know that?
I think we already had our agenda was up and posted. There he is. Welcome back.
Good to see everyone. Sorry about that. You gotta love the technology. I must have hit the wrong button and myself in the meeting. For those of you who are joining us live via YouTube, welcome to our bi-weekly College Council meeting. My name is Ricky Shabazz. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of the great college, the greatest college on the planet, San Diego City College. Joining me are my colleagues, your colleagues at San Diego City College. They represent the constituency groups. We will introduce them momentarily. Before I introduce them, we also have guests joining us that will be introduced as they present. And speaking of presenting, if you would like to bring an item to College Council, you can do so one of two ways: by sending an email to the president's office and Janelli. And Janelli, thank you for everything you do with College Council and the meeting notes and all the behind the scenes, like let me back in when I kick myself out. We appreciate everything you do for the college. You can send an email to Janelli and she can work through placing an item on College Council, or you can email one of the leaders from the constituency groups, and they would be happy to bring an item forward as well. And I'm going to introduce the leaders of our constituency groups. I do have a guest who is joining us that I will introduce, and then the vice presidents will introduce their guests as it relates to the presentations that are going to occur today. The agenda for College Council was emailed out to the entire campus, as well as those who are on the Zoom. So let me begin by introducing the members of College Council, and this will also serve as our roll call. Again, my name is Ricky Shabazz. I have the honor and privilege of being the president of San Diego City College. Joining us, the past president of the Academic Senate, Paul.
Hello, present.
Good to see you, Paul. Tilly, the vice president of instruction.
Present.
Robbie, one of our deans and the chair of institutional technology.
Present.
Caesar, information officer.
Present.
Jocelyn, supervisory representative.
present.
Nadia, president of chairs cabinet.
Present.
Susan, dean of institutional effectiveness and chair of improv.
Present.
Masa, administrative representative.
Present.
And if you see me squinting, it's because I probably should put my glasses on. Okay, Victoria, president of the student government. Don't see a student rep, but we value our students. Always look forward to them being with us. John, vice president of administrative services.
Present.
Marciano, vice president of students.
Present.
John, president of classified senate.
Hi, everyone. Present.
Maria Jose, Interim President of the Academic Senate.
Presente.
Good to see you all. Also joining us is one of our colleagues by way of Louisiana. My mother's side of the family is from Louisiana. Please let's give a warm City College welcome and City College love to Chandler. He is joining us as a part of a job shadowing. Chandler, you want to introduce yourself?
Sure, absolutely. Good afternoon. Thanks for having me. This is my second time joining, so very excited to be here with the group. I serve as the Vice Chancellor for Institutional Advancement and Workforce Initiatives for Fletcher Technical Community College, which is about an hour south of New Orleans. So it is here in Louisiana, beautiful spring, warm and sunny.
Well, Chandler, I love Louisiana, but I don't know if Louisiana can keep up with San Diego weather today. But Chandler's going to have an opportunity to visit us in person. And so we'll walk him around and introduce him to many of you who are on this call, the leaders, folks who are watching via YouTube. The leaders of the constituency groups are more than willing and able to bring forth an agenda item if there's something you would like to discuss at College Council. We have other guests that are going to be introduced as part of their presentation. Second on the agenda is the approval of the notes from March 8th. Would someone like to make a motion for approval? And Diego, good to see you. Welcome. Our student government rep is here. I know he was probably just leaving Paul Alexander's class, and now he's joining us in College Council. So good to see you, Diego. Would someone like to make a motion for approval of the notes from March 8th?
So moved.
I would like to move to approve.
I think, and this is where the squares get a little confusing. So just as a reminder to my colleagues, if you could introduce yourselves. Most of your voices I know, because I think it was a motion first by Masa and a second by Robbie. Do I win a prize for that? No. There's a lot of presentations today, so there's a lot of folks on this Zoom. So any further discussion about approval of the meeting minutes? Hearing none, something I actually learned from Masa, like we teaching each other how to use these Zoom features. But if you would click on the green for approval of the minutes, if you would like to not approve the minutes, you can click the red X. And if you would like to abstain from approval, you can do so by unmuting yourself and saying it. Looks like the minutes pass. We will move on to number 3. And let me just publicly thank Maria Jose for her leadership and working with us, because we had an overambitious agenda in the last meeting, and we wanted to give this very important topic of 10+1 its just due. And so with that said, I'm going to turn it over to Maria Jose.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Ricky. Now I got double the nerves. The first week and now the second week. But can I share, Cesar, please?
Second here. All right, should be good to go.
All right, perfect. Oh. So I guess now my Zoom is new in my office. So Cesar, do you mind sharing my slides? It won't let me. As we come back to campus, we have to work with all these.
So I will pull them up right now.
Thank you so much. So this is just a quick review or summary of what the Academic Senate is and what shared governance is as well, meaning our role as one of the constituents here at San Diego City College. It's in Janelle's email.
Yes, let me, I guess got to change the slide view because it's showing both screens on my end, but hold on 1 second.
No rush. No pressure, Cesar.
I had it already on my computer, but now it says I have to go to system preferences, and that's going to take me a while to figure it out.
No worries
So
at
I
all.
need the help. So thank you. Well, the nice thing is that I did get a new computer in the office, so thank you very much. But we have to set it all up, so I'm working through that, as many of us will. Thank you. Yes, that's it. So what is the Academic Senate? So, and what's shared governance? So shared governance also is known as participatory governance, and is actually the method in which all constituent groups make recommendations and participate in the campus decision-making processes. Now, for us, specifically faculty, our role that we play within the decision-making process is part of the shared governance, and it pertains to the academic and professional matters. Next. So a little bit of the historical context, because context does matter. In 1988, the California State Legislature and the governor approved AB 1725, and this established several ed codes policies that you can see in here, the numbers. Now, these additional policies directed the California Community College Board of Governors to develop regulations to ensure that as faculty, also classified professionals and students had the right to participate effectively in district and college governance. Next. So what are really the legal sources that define the rights and responsibilities of the Academic Senate? You'll find that in the California Education Code and California Code of Regulations, which is also known as the Title V regulation. Next. The Education Code, one of them is, for example, the governing board shall ensure the right of academic senates to assume primary responsibility for making recommendation in the areas of curriculum and academic standards. Now, this is tied to the Title V regulation, which actually defines what the Academic Senate means, and also our famous 10+1. So Academic Senate means an organization whose primary function is to make recommendations with respect, again, to academic and professional matters. And academic and professional matters means the following policy development and implementation matters, which is the 10+1. So this is a Title V regulation. And as you can see, we have 11 points. So the first one is anything that deals with curriculum, including establishing prerequisites, is under the purview of the Academic Senate of a college. Anything related to degree and certificate requirements, grading policies, educational program development, standards and policies regarding student preparation and success, college governance structures as related to faculty roles and involvement in accreditation process, policies for faculty professional development activities, processes for program review, processes for institutional planning and budget development, and other academic and professional matters as mutually agreed upon. So this is tied to collegial consultation, and this is a very, very important piece of the puzzle in how we do shared governance. So the Title V regulations specify two forms of decision-making on the academic and professional matters, which is the Academic Senate purview, correct? The 10+1. So that is relying primarily on and reach mutual agreement. So again, these are two forms of decision-making as part of our shared governance. And you can see here the definition of each one of them. So consult collegiality means that the district governing board shall develop policies on academic and professional matters through either or both of the following methods according to its own discretion. So this is a very, very important detail. So we either rely primarily upon the advice and judgment of the Senate, and or agree that the district governing board or such representatives as it may designate and the representatives of the Academic Senate shall have the obligation to reach mutual agreement by written resolution, regulation, or policy of the governing board effectuating such recommendations. And these designations for these two decision-making processes are specified in the San Diego Community College Board policy. So hopefully with this little review of what shared governance means and who we are as the academic senate role and our responsibilities, we can just keep working together to make this campus the best campus on earth for all our students.
Well, thank you, Maria Jose. I know that there are other faculty members who are present. Is there anyone, you did an amazing job, and we are absolutely committed to shared participatory governance, which, if I could add, carries itself out through our committee structure and other, both formal and informal ways that we value the input from all of our stakeholders, but certainly recognize the role that faculty play in the operations of the college, decision-making of the college. Is there anyone, any other faculty who would like to add to anything that Maria Jose?
And if I may, actually, we're so lucky in this group because we have a past president, 2 past presidents in this group of the Academic Senate. So they're experts on this matter. So Masa and Paul had been actually Academic Senate presidents at City.
Any thoughts, additions?
Well, I think Dr. Maria Jose Zeledon Perez did a great job of presenting it. I mean, I'll just emphasize everything that she's saying, that really shared and governance is a way to keep campuses functioning well, regardless. And I think that our campus are one of the campuses that stand out of using this as a process to work together and get things done, as opposed to other areas where I've seen it become more of a contentious kind of a back and forth. And so, I think shared governance is just a way of doing real governance and effective governance. So.
Thank you, Paul. Yeah. Masa, anything? No pressure.
Well, thank you so much for a wonderful presentation. I mean, there are those, especially new faculty members who are not too familiar with this concept. It can get complicated. So, there are some places where you can kind of see the processes to learn how this really works. And, I was lucky to be assigned to serve on curriculum, for example. It clearly kind of shows the process. It's initiated by faculty. There's a consultation process along the way, both campus-wise and district-wise. So, I think there are spots where you can see more explicitly, and those might be a great learning opportunity. And I'm thinking, Maria Jose and I are working on, accreditation writing. That's another areas that are shared responsibility clearly. So there are other places, an opportunity, and as Paul said, sometimes we don't even have to explicitly mention, because it's kind of embedded in, how we do things, led by Ricky here. That's the culture and that's the tone. And I really appreciate how I was able to serve as a Senate president in the past. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions for Maria Jose or Paul or Masa in terms of, yes, Maria Jose?
No, just one last thing, because, part of the process, just like you said, how can people get to the agenda for the College Council? So for us, even though you have senators that are representing your departments in the Senate meetings, any faculty that has anything that now falls under the purview of the 10+1, you're always welcome to come to either our Academic Senate executive team meetings or to email any of us in the Academic Senate executive team to talk about what you would like to bring forward and add to the agenda of a meeting. So again, this is for all faculty. And again, you have your senators that represent your areas. So make sure that you ask what's going on in the Senate and you get involved.
Thank you, Maria Jose. And I would just add that, we do have a great working relationship, everyone at the college for the most part, and it's built on mutual respect, but also effective communication, which carries itself out through our committee structure. Have the opportunity to meet with the Academic Senate, most of the exec every Thursday, and we run things by, and frankly, I take the advice, and we don't necessarily always agree, but we come to that mutual understanding And certainly, I continue to learn and have a great deal of respect for all of our leaders in constituency groups. It takes work, folks. It takes work. It takes communication. It takes relationship. And it takes sometimes even agreeing to disagree about matters. And the last thing I'd like to also say is that you didn't see hiring necessarily on the 10+1, and we go beyond the 10+1 because we traditionally have a faculty member in just about, not all, but just about all of the final interviews with the president. And anyone who has had the opportunity to either sit in on the final interview or be interviewed at the final round knows that it's a very lively discussion when we have those final interviews. Any other comments for the good of the order before we move to the update on the diversity committee? Well, again, thank you, Maria Jose, as well as Paul and Masa for joining in on the discussion. I would now like to introduce our acting dean. And folks, most of these people have doctorates, but we're all colleagues, so we tend to be informal and use people's first names. And certainly if you prefer that I refer to you as doctor, I will certainly do. But we have our acting Dean of Student Affairs to provide an update on the Diversity Committee, Adon Sanchez. Adon?
Thank you. Let me share my screen real quick. All right. Well, thank you all for having me today. It's just going to be a quick update on kind of where we are with the new Diversity Committee, and that's kind of where we're naming it right now. Many of you actually are part of some of these groups and conversations that we started in the fall semester. So it's great to see that, and feel free to add anything that I may have missed. But yeah, thank you for the opportunity to share a little bit about where we are in this process. I think what we're naming right now, the new Diversity Committee, really gives us the opportunity to create the infrastructure to intentionally improve, but mainly sustain the campus-wide collaborations and the communication for different diversity, equity, inclusion, and social justice efforts. I think that this is in relation to the student services reorganization that's going to be approved by the board this week, where a lot of these equity efforts and groups were joining student affairs, the area of student affairs. And so really we want to take the opportunity to have a stronger voice in these efforts. And there's also no duplication of these efforts. And also that there's a connection to College Council where, we want this group to be consistently coming to provide updates and receive feedback from College Council as it has, the right representation from all the key stakeholders at City. The conversation really started with these groups that I have on the screen, was the current Diversity Committee, the Social Justice Conference, SSCT, VAMP, and also those leads, the three leads who were working on the equity statement. We know more voices are going to come. We know we're going to be doing that outreach as well, but definitely something that we wanted to start with these groups that were already there in terms of doing some campus-wide pieces already. In this new phase of the new Diversity Committee, Deanna Shelton is going to be the one taking the lead of this committee, or this group, moving forward. Because she is the one chairing right now the current Diversity Committee, and it just made the most sense for her to continue on this role. And I think all of these groups, we also want them to continue to do their own efforts. This is not a place or a space to replace the planning of all the great efforts that are taking place. World Cultures will continue to have their own meetings to plan their events, social justice the same way, VAMP the same way, the equity statement leads are doing independently as well on working on that statement. And so that's not the intent of this group. It's really, for those groups to continue the momentum that they're doing, but more to do it in a collaborative way when we come together once a month. The only group that's not going to be continuing meeting will be the SSCT, because the budget piece that comes from student equity will be absorbed by this new Diversity Committee. So that's kind of where we are right now with the initial purpose of this group. It's again that the intentional campus-wide program collaborations, the student equity allocation recommendations, And then the current diversity committee has been working under the 5-point plan that was developed many years ago. And we definitely want to continue the great efforts that they've been talking about in that sense. I'll show you a little bit about what it means. And then having ad hoc efforts like the equity statement, right? That's going to be, it's been developing right now. And once it's finalized, that group is not, it's going to go away. And maybe, we'll take on some other pieces in relation to this work. And then the last slide that, again, I want to share is the 5-point plan that it came from the diversity committee, the current diversity committee, in the way that if we really want to improve our campus culture, right, to better support students, better support our employees, we need to do it in an intentional way. Programming is one thing, the budget is another piece, but this diagram kind of shows the outreach and education that needs to happen, the hiring, the curriculum, data collection, district collaboration. And again, the way that we're moving forward with this is not for this group to do all of these components independently, but to do it collaboratively across campus and work with College Council to make sure that we are all on the same page about improving our campus culture. That's all I have for you folks today.
Thank you, Adon. Any questions for Adon? And I want to thank everyone because this has been about 2 years worth of work to align all of the great work that is occurring on our campus by all of the programs that you heard about. And yes, Maria Jose, that to include world cultures. This is also a result of an IEPI grant to align our committee structure. And, there are a lot of use of words such as committee, task force, and a host of other words that we're trying to get a hold of by combining or aligning folks who are doing very similar work. And not just that, the thing I would add to Adon's great presentation is this is also about resource allocation and support. And so now Adon's office is providing support for faculty and offices like that we're working with programs like World Cultures and others to process requisitions. And the college had been rolling over a substantial amount of equity funds. And I have to say, while I don't quite understand why a college that is the leading college in social justice, we wanted to give the resources to those who are doing the work. And so now there's an effort to ensure that we're not rolling over the amount of money that we had been in equity, that in fact, World Cultures shouldn't have to come every year to request money that we know we're going to give them. Social justice shouldn't have to come every year to request money we know we're going to give them. The same with the other programs. And so now the resources are actually in the hands of the people doing the work, with still an opportunity, a dollar amount that they're going to decide looking at the budget for folks to still, and a process for folks to come and apply for additional resources or support, right? So it's twofold, right? So folks who have been doing the work, getting the same dollar amount, now will have those funds sooner. They'll know they have an allocation. And not only an allocation, but they have a go-to person in Adon in his office to help with requisitions and processing paperwork. And then because it's a lot of work, World Cultures, social justice, a lot of work, and BAMP is a lot of work. And so now there's support for that work. And then there's a process that the committee will create to allocate a defined dollar amount to the campus. So people who want to do projects or interventions have the ability to access additional resources. So thank you, Adon, to everyone who's working on that. Any questions about the diversity committee? Hearing none, let me go to Tilly and Anna to provide an update on AB 705.
Thank you, Ricky, and thank you, Anna, for joining me as my partner that's attached at each other's hip, I guess, for the next couple of weeks too. So as you're probably all aware, AB 705, and Anna's going to do a big overview where we are on this, but we had been implementing and moving forward, and to our surprise, in December-ish, we had received a notice from the state of, hey, we want to check and see how you're doing on AB 705, and we're going to let you know that we need you to report on these things by March 11th. I said March 11th, and yes, it's past March 11th. So we gathered the group of AB 705 individuals on the campus. We met with the district. We actually had the state chancellor's office individuals come and meet with us. So we asked our questions, and we were able to get an extension on returning our plan by April 22nd, knowing that we have, thank you, Dr. Maria Jose, shared governance and participatory governance to follow the process and make sure this plan is properly vetted throughout the college. So that being said, I have brought Anna with me today, as she's kind of been our lead on the plan and writing and supplement what we're actually going to turn in. And so up to date, we've already gone to Academic Senate, and it passed on Academic Senate yesterday. So now we're bringing it to College Council. And eventually, after this is all done, then we can actually even ask Maria Jose to sign off on it along with our president and myself at that point in time. Anna, that's just the foundation. I'm going to let you turn over, and I think you have sharing rights of what the plan is, and from there.
Yeah. So thank you. So as Tilly said, we're turning it in a little bit later than the deadline. And part of that is because the new guidance around AB 705. So a little bit of backstory. AB 705 is a law that's been in place for a few years now, but we were going through the beginning phases of the law that allowed for sort of a experimentation phase and some data gathering that the state was doing. And that's what Tilly was referencing, was the data gathering stage closed. We had received initial guidance on how to implement AB 705. Data gathering closed. The state evaluated all the data that they collected from all of the community colleges and determined that the intention of the law was not being met. And so they issued new guidance for how to comply with the law. So what we are responding to is the new guidance. And that's what the state has asked for, is a compliance plan that brings us into compliance based on the new guidelines for the law. So where we are in the shifts that we need to make as a campus is that, and this is across the board, this is not just City College, this is colleges throughout the state. We really functionally need to stop offering any courses below transfer level in the disciplines of math and English. So we're currently discontinuing our offerings below transfer level. So in English, we will be, in both disciplines, we're allowed and encouraged to continue to offer concurrent support courses. So that's happening. But where we are getting it, where the plan is, we know that we're essentially going to inform the state that we recognize that we will continue to be out of compliance for an additional year. And that has to do with the math sequences and the way that our curriculum is, we have curricular issues that we have to address that we can't fully deal with in time for a fall 2022 implementation. So this is not the plan as it will be submitted. It's an online submission form, but this is a draft of the plan. And essentially, we need to provide the state with our data. Our data confirms that we are not maximizing students' potential to complete math and English in 1 year when we place them before transfer level. So we need to submit that, and it will verify that we cannot continue to offer these courses. But we are stating in the plan that we are aware of this, but that we need to continue to offer sections of math 90, 92, 96, and 96X for the upcoming year to allow us time to remove those as requirements within our certificate programs, to allow us to go through and remove those as prerequisites from courses like chemistry. There's biology courses. So there are courses that have to, kind of go back through articulation, and all of that has to be addressed. So the yellowed sections here are our responses, but the key element is that we are indicating to the state that we are drawing down those offerings to the extent that we possibly can in the fall and the spring, and that by fall of 2023, we'll be in full compliance under the new guidance. And so this is essentially what is described here. So there's an opportunity to write in what our practices and our shifts will be as we move forward. And so that description is all included there, along with the additional curriculum shifts that we intend to make as we work on coming into better and better alignment with the new guidance. And then we attach our data addendum, which is available. Oop, is it going to work? Yeah, there we go. Which essentially it goes through all of our, and I won't go through everything because it's a fairly extensive data addendum, but it goes through all of our degree, certificate, math and English courses, and does a comparison. But we basically can't continue to offer after this year. So that's the content of the plan, and that will be what we submit and what we ask permission for from the state. We will find out the state's response. We hope that they'll allow us to continue to offer the math courses until we can make permanent adjustments. But we also know that we need to be prepared for the state to actually decline, and then we will schedule accordingly based on what the state's response to our plan is.
Anna, did you, I just wanted to let people know too that we're not just waiting around and then make a plan later.
Right. So either way, yeah, so right. Thank you, Tilly. So either way, we need to prepare for these shifts. And a major part of the work that we need to engage in this semester in particular is to actually start reaching out to students who have these below transfer courses on their education plans. Because right now we have quite a number of students who have a Math 96 class in their education program, and these will not be available, and we need to educate them about what the other options are going to be. So as we're moving through the tail end of this semester, be ready, because we'll be coming out to people with requests for assistance with this, because we need to reach students. So we'll be working with the district, but we'll also be working with departments and like various other outreach arms of the campus to get to students and inform them about these shifts so that we can actually get them into math classes that will meet their needs. What we don't want to have happen is a student that has a 96 on their transcript stalls and doesn't enroll in a math course because they're waiting to try to figure out what to do around or can't find a 96 offering. So that will be the work that we have to engage in as we move forward into the second 8 weeks of this semester and prepare for fall enrollments.
And if you can stop sharing for me, please.
Yes.
So I'm going to just follow up on that, and that is a question for us. I'm going to look right to Caesar as well to say, we have these individuals we're going to try to reach out to, and I know we have other mechanisms too. If we can just help each other the sooner the better. We're going to have to reach out to the students anyways, right? But I know, Anna, you and the team are working on drafting notices, etc. And Caesar, I don't know if that would be something through the texting or through emailing, or what kind of campaign that we might be able to bring forward. So I just kind of want to make sure we get that out there. So thank you. That is what is going to be coming forward. And I guess really, Ricky, do you want us to go ahead and open it up for questions at this time?
Absolutely. And again, thank you, Anna and Tilly. Any questions about our work on AB 705?
Just looking for everyone's support.
Yeah, and everyone has been working tremendously. I know in my time here, the math department and certainly the English department has been doing tremendous work. And the data is clear, folks. In the pass-through rate, the persistence rate of students who take classes that are 5, 6, 7 levels below transfer. And it's also clear that we need and have been providing additional support for students. This is not a matter of sinking or swimming. This is a matter of providing tutoring, providing co-requisites and a host of other support for those students who need refreshers. Students need refresher, particularly if most of our students are not fresh out of high school, folks. Many people have lived a life, worked in a number of different arenas, and are coming back to pursue other interests or to complete their degree that they may have started. And so this is about us being intentional and strategic about how to get people from where they are to where they need to be. And again, I commend our great faculty for their many efforts in this area. Any questions? If not, again, Anna, always good to see you. Hopefully you've got to do a little bit of fishing here, and then I still need to find that secret lake that you talked to me about. Moving on.
So Jerky, just to clarify, we are comfortable with the plan at College Council so that we can, I think it's going to come for your signature, mine, and
yes, this was not listed as a voting matter.
I don't believe it needs to be. I just wanted to make sure, just for clarification, that everyone.
Yes, but the way you phrased that then made it.
Oh, okay. No, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Retract.
And it wasn't listed that way. You mentioned that you had already taken it to the academic senate, and so being that we just had a 10+1 presentation, I haven't heard anything otherwise from the faculty, and we had one of our great faculty members present today. So I think we are good, and I am just trying to bring back up the agenda for the meeting because I opened the wrong one. Give me 1 second, folks.
And I just want to do a quick shout out to the AB 705, Anna Rogers included on that, who's helping lead that initiative. So thank you very much.
Yeah, well, speaking of initiatives, now that I have my agenda back open, we are in the middle of an update to both our educational master plan and our facilities master plan. I'm going to go out of order, John, and ask that we go from 6 to 8. But before we go to John, we're going to ask one of our amazing deans, Susan Murray, who is assisting with our educational plan, to provide an update.
Sure, thank you. I am not presenting the plan itself today. What I'm doing is giving you a preview of the structure and kind of why we're, a little bit of rationale as to why we're organizing things the way we are. So like a lot of other colleges have done, we are moving forward and merging our educational master plan and strategic plan. Prior to this, we had an ed master plan that was developed in, I believe, the 2015-2016 year. It was prior to my arrival here at City. And then after I came, and that plan, the way that it was structured, didn't include the strategic plan component, which is really the priorities and goals and strategies that provide direction to the action that the college will take. And so one of the first projects that I assisted with after my position of the Dean of Institutional Effectiveness position was created and I came on board was to create a strategic plan for the college, and that was adopted in 2017. We actually reached the end of that plan last year, but the pandemic slowed down our planning process, like it slowed down many other things that we had been working on. So we are bringing these back together. And I wanted to come and share some information about what this looks like. So the purpose of having an educational master plan, it's a guiding document for the institution as a whole. So it's written at the institutional level. It doesn't provide specific information about individual programs and services. That is captured in our program level planning processes that are documented in program review and area plans. So this is providing institutional direction. And it does that in a way that articulates and maintains our focus on students and on equity, because those are at the heart of what we are doing as an institution. And then, we can include lots of descriptive information, but that doesn't help us move forward unless we're identifying those priorities and operationalizing them in goals and strategies that we can actually implement. So this is what we're looking at as the big picture for the educational master plan. It starts with some context, an overview of our district, because we do have governance at the district level, an overview of our college, addressing our mission and values, leadership, history, some information on our planning processes, both what we do internally to integrate planning and governance and ensure that we are in alignment with our accreditation standards. Then we get to the heart of it, which is our strategic priorities. I'm going to say a little bit more about that in a minute. Another key part of the context comes in section 5, where we give an overview of some data. This is the part of the plan that will be revisited and updated on an ongoing basis as these things change. So while the plan document itself is a snapshot, all of these things are produced in other ways and published to the college community in other ways. And we will continue to reference those sources in our decision making. The educational master plan will tie to the facilities master plan, in that the executive summary of that facilities plan will be a part of this document. But as you will hear from John in a few minutes, that plan itself is much bigger. And then we'll include some information about the process that led us to this point. And our focus has been on building out these strategic priorities over the multiple campus-wide planning forums that we have had over the past year and a half, mostly through Zoom. And thank you all for your patience with that. That's not the way we're accustomed to doing these things. We're accustomed to getting together face to face and having conversations around a table, usually with some food, and talking about what these things mean. And there just has not been the opportunity to do that. So it has taken a little longer, but we are working through this. We are about ready to circulate the draft of the goals and strategies that support these priorities. So that is an overview of where we are and where we are headed with the educational master plan, which will encompass the strategic plan. So from this point forward, we will be working off of a single document. Questions?
Any questions for Susan? Susan, if I could, I'll ask Caesar to email you something. The very first item, if I could take the liberty, we just modified it for another effort in the caring, compassionate connections. We put a dash and said sharing the city love. I hope that doesn't, if we can make that modification, hopefully that doesn't change anything per se, but we are all about the city college love. Speaking of love, I love that John Parker, Maria Jose, is learning shared governance as someone who came from an out-of-state college, and I hope he was taking copious notes with the 10+1 today, because I understand that he presented the facilities master plan to the academic senate. And it's something that we all should take note of when we are looking for our colleagues in the academic senate to approve or support something, that we should just strategize that we're going to have 2 readings and very lively discussions. That is the City College way. And so I'm going to pass it over to John Parker to provide an update on the facilities master plan, which I will remind you, there are faculty who are serving on that committee who were assigned by the Academic Senate, as is our college process. John?
Yes, thank you, sir. And lively discussions they were. Very insightful. In fact, I have received some recommendations, some input. This meeting was yesterday, which I will be sharing with R&T, the architects of R&T, in preparation for our next meeting, which is the all managers meeting on April 5th. After that will be a campus forum. Well, let me go through the week of April 4th through 7th. We will be selecting 2 days to display the model in the student dining area. Excuse me, it'll be a public display for the model. Then on the 5th, we'll meet with the managers. And on April 8th, there will be a campus forum. Time will to be determined for that. And April 12th will be the presentation to College Council. And on May 12th will be the recommendation to the Board of Trustees for approval. Somewhere before the May 12th meeting with the Board of Trustees, we'll be meeting again with the Academic Senate to ensure that we incorporated or addressed some of the recommendations that were sent to me, and for the Academic Senate to vote on approving the facilities master plan prior to going to College Council and the board. So that is the timeline as of today. One thing that I've been imploring with constituencies and everyone that we've presented to is to keep in mind that this is the vision for the campus for the next 20, 30, 40 years. It is not as granular. This is the more conceptual design. It's not as granular as the schematic design and the design development phase once we engage architects when we receive funding. But we do want to include, if it's not in a schematic form, at least in the narrative of the facility master plan, some of the considerations or recommendations that we have been receiving.
Yeah, thank you, John. If I could just reiterate in my own way that the process for adding something that someone wants to see and is passionate about seeing is actually when we go out for a contractor to build said facility. So this is the, what did they say, the 30,000 or 60,000 foot view. And so when we get to use John's term, to the granular, is there going to be a bike rack or is there going to be a charging station? That wouldn't necessarily be in the facilities master plan. That would be in the process of bringing a contractor in the design build phase of this. So folks, high level is student services is in different places right now. We want to expand over the current bookstore and the current A building, so CalWorks and other programs, maybe the development of a parent center, which I'll be meeting with several folks on. Where would those things go? Now, when you get down to what color the carpet is and where the telephone's going to be and the entrance, that sort of stuff would come in at the point that we actually go out to bid and we've identified the finances. Paul.
Yeah, can I just say I was there for the presentation yesterday and it was absolutely amazing. And somebody who feels like I have a healthy sense of pessimism when it comes to these projects, man, was I impressed, and I went to sleep excited about the future of our campus.
Well, thank you.
Please.
No, go ahead.
No, I was going to say thank you for that input. As I mentioned yesterday, the architects have been working hard with the Facilities Master Plan Committee and all constituencies to make sure that everyone has input so that we can produce a document that folks that are here 30, 40, 50 years from now will be proud. We'll be proud of us for moving this forward.
Yeah, thank you, John. And I commend John, and I also commend everyone for giving your feedback because there were some things missed with the current project. Although I'm very proud of this campus. This is the best campus I've ever been on. But there's an opportunity to continue to build out the campus in ways that were not included in the original plan, i.e. the Seville Theater. I mean, we know the spaces that were unfortunately overlooked. And it's an opportunity to build out those things. It's also an opportunity to address some things that should have been caught, like the science building and the HVAC and things. And I just want to publicly say to the science folks that it is our top priority to address some of the things that are going on in the science building. I want to commend Letty, who is our new official dean over those areas. And she has been championing and really carried us forward in ways that we needed to be carried forward so that those faculty in that building have a voice. And so we're working on strategies that will be included in the facilities master plan and things that are occurring right now as we speak. Any other comments for the good of the order? You don't have the design yet. I'd ask John to send an email to the campus because John, you didn't share a document just so people can see a visual of when these meetings are that you referenced in today's. There were several dates. So if you could send correspondence to the campus with those dates and outline what each of them are, and we'll culminate with a public viewing that will be in the cafeteria. Certainly Caesar will send those things to the campus when the date approaches as well. But I would ask you to just send the correspondence so we have it in writing. Any other comments for the good of the order? And at some point, this will come back for a presentation from our consultants who have been I got to give them credit. One, they stopped their work so that we could apply for a state housing grant, and they turned around that housing project rather quickly. And as a result of John's work and the consultants' work, we were awarded $300,000. Now we wanted to get awarded $30 million to build it, but I believe we're closer to the reality of that happening. And we'll come back and talk about how we're going to use that $300,000 because we know that our students and employees are in need of affordable housing. And there's some exciting opportunities that will be able to use that $300,000 to plan a housing project at San Diego City College. We will have housing at San Diego City College. I promise you that. The other piece, again, with the consultants is they were responsive because I have to say, I sent them back to the drawing board when I saw the first phase. I said, there's no way we're presenting that to the academic senate and this college. And so I want to thank publicly John and the consultants because they went back and came back with something that we could be proud of. So thank you, Paul, for acknowledging that you were excited about it because I was much more excited about the second draft than I was the first draft. Moving ahead, if there are no other questions, John, you have number 7, which is budgets. And before I turn it over to John about budgets, John is going to be going around to all of the constituency groups because we are still facing a very real budget matter as a college. Now we have all of this HERF money, which is somewhat of a mirage. It is leading people to ask very real questions about transparency and about process. And in the spirit of transparency and in the spirit of process, I've asked John to go back around to the chairs, to the deans, to the SPA group, to the classified senate, to the academic senate, and to present on budget, which will culminate with a campus budget forum, because we really need to keep our eyes open about this budget matter that is going on in our state and at our college. And we also need to know that our constituency groups are advocating, some of them, for a certain reserve. And so John, being an educator himself, he actually teaches accounting, which includes teaching some classes at City College, if I'm not mistaken, John. Really, we want to educate the campus on terms that you're hearing. COLA, hiring freezes, all of these things that we are still impacted by, but that because of the federal stimulus money, really those things have been prolonged. But at some point we have to revisit where we are financially as a college. every one of you has needs that exceed the financial resources that we have available to us. Now I'm going to stop there because I don't want to take all of John's presentation. John?
No, that's okay. And it's not a presentation per se, but I do want to address the college and state budget. And as you mentioned, the workshops or the forums that I'll be conducting for the constituency groups. But this wasn't a presentation, and I hope that wasn't the intent here. But I did want to reiterate what President Shabazz was saying, that we're still drunk off her funds, and we have been for the last 2 years. And the music will stop next year. There's an unofficial extension, and I'm waiting for confirmation from the Department of Education until June of 2023, which affords us 1 more year. But as Ricky said, we're still in a state of fiscal exigency, and we're still at a deficit at the district and the campus level, notwithstanding the windfall of her funds, which allowed us to end the year last year in the black, most likely this year as well. And I would forecast for next year's also, since the HERF funds have been extended. But we do need to be aware, as Ricky said, the impact of COLA per se, or of COLA in particular, and hiring and salaries, ESU, the deficit spending, if you will, which we have been doing. And Ricky, I know you've been talking about this in several meetings, what deficit spending means. If our expenses exceed our income, our revenue, that is deficit spending. And we do go into deficit spending at the beginning of the fiscal year because budgets aren't loaded, but we know that they will be because that spending is under what our allocation or budgets will be. But I'm sorry if that is too granular. But that's what these presentation and workshops will entail. Budget transfers, budget transfer requests, journal entries, and just really managing, accessing, and knowing your budgets in and out. We are here for your support. That's what we do in business services. We're facilitators in helping departments and budget managers better manage their budgets. Anything else you'd like me to add to that, Ricky?
Yeah, and great job, John. This was not meant to be the budget presentation, but a commercial, if you will, that John is going to be working with all of you as leaders to schedule time and to provide what I know is going to be a relevant conversation to the budget and you. How does, if I'm a faculty member, if I'm a classified professional, if I'm a supervisor, if I'm a manager, what is my impact on this budget, and the need to make very tough, very real decisions now so that tomorrow we can ensure the vibrancy, the existence of our college. So we do have some very tough decisions ahead of us financially, but we will get through this because we're a very resilient organization. Any questions about these budget forums? Hearing none, we are going to go to something that I am equally excited about, and it is the expanded Promise program. And so we have another one of our great deans, probably the one who gets the most emails from me because she and I kind of have a similar background. It's a gift and a curse, Genevieve. But I am so glad to have Genevieve here, and I think Tilly is going to join her as well. But Genevieve, the floor is yours.
Tilly, you came off mute. Did you want to start or?
No, you're welcome.
Okay.
Go ahead. I'm just
okay, perfect. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen.
Can I remind myself, is this our second time coming back for the Path to Success?
Yes.
Is here. Okay.
Yes. So this is the second time here.
And Ricky, being that I'm new as well, but I will take the ownership to say that I may have miscommunicated this for a potential vote. I may have to come back if we need to for that. I'm not sure, but.
So my question would be, did the Academic Senate vote?
Yes.
Okay, I think we are fine to make this an action item then.
Okay.
And I'm assuming they voted in the affirmative or it wouldn't be here.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. 15 and 0, I believe, was the final count.
So
Yes.
thank you. I just, and
That's
that's
like a
my-
good record for a softball season or a baseball season, right?
And that's part of my process of learning, is putting things on the agenda when I need to specify that whether it's a vote or not. So we're all learning, Maria Jose. Thank you for the education this morning.
Yes. Awesome. So, yes, thank you for having me. We're here to present the memo for the Expanded Promise, the Path to Success program. We have, as Ricky alluded to, we've already gone to Academic Senate for a vote, Classified Senate, and it's been presented at the SPA group as well. So here on the screen is the memo, and I'll just briefly run through it. On behalf of the Path to Success work group, we're requesting to move the concept of expanding the Promise program for further planning and implementation, and are requesting a vote to support the program from each constituency group. So just a brief description. So essentially the Path to Success program is really taking our current Promise program and embedding or including a bundled first semester 12-unit course of classes for the Promise students. And starting with the Promise students, because we have them as a captive audience, and there's about 600 new Promise students who start the program every year. And so starting the pilot with them, but we would be incorporating our guided pathways, CSTs, collaborative support teams, to support the programs who enter into the pilot at the 3 different phases, and the students within those programs. And the big part of this is really the class bundles, the 12-unit bundles of classes for the students who would be coming into the Promise, the Path to Success program. And these bundles would include a personal growth course, an English, a math, and then a GE course. We would also explore the weekend and evening offerings, and exploring different various modalities to include into these class bundles, taking into account all of our different student needs. And then class scheduling would be based on the demand of students in the program. After the first read, we got some feedback in regards to incorporating a library course, and including librarians and counselors within our planning group. And so we've done that. Georgina Garcia sits on this planning group as the representative from counseling. Once our Promise counselor is on board, that person would be part of this group as well. And then, oh my goodness, Leanne Voss is sitting on our group as to represent our library faculty. And one of the things, again, from after the second read, was the incorporation of a library class into these bundles. So after meeting with librarians, with Leanne and Carol, and Georgina and the rest of the group, the model that's being put forward is library research workshops that will be incorporated into the students' required engagement activity for the Promise program. They're still looking into the possibility of offering it as a class. One of the reasons why it was kind of they moved away from that model was because the library research class wouldn't count towards a student's financial aid. And so we'll be doing some work on that with the counselors and ed plans, and seeing what can be done there. And then also incorporating, again, back on track workshops, which would be provided by the Promise counselor, in addition to the personal growth class that's built into the class bundle. So some of the feedback we received, again, was the counselor and librarian representative. We've addressed that. We also got feedback about incorporating the program coordinators of Uboja, Puente, and Hubu into this planning. Many of the Promise students also participate in those programs, and we know that those programs already have courses that are built into their learning communities. And so making sure that we build bundles that keep those program needs in mind for those students who are participating in those programs as well. And then finally, just the creation of these bundles, the thought behind them, the modality, how we offer them, what we're doing with them, really needs the input and planning consideration from both instruction and student services. So we have a really good representation from both sides in this planning group. And so Anna Rogers has emailed and wants to join our mighty little team. And so we're looking for others who might want to also be part of this planning, because this is going to take, work from everyone on the campus. This is not just a student services thing. And Brenda Torres is amazing, but this is not just a Brenda Torres thing because it's the Promise program, right? So, so there is that feedback that we've received and addressed, and then just here at the bottom, just the timeline. So we're in phase 1 now, implementing with a goal of fall 2023. Our planning is beginning now, and then phase 2. Phase 3, and then here the student groups would be folded into each of those phases. So that is it. I don't know. Go ahead.
I was just going to say great job, but I wanted you to finish your thought. I'm sorry.
Oh no, and I was going to just turn it back over to Tilly. So I'll go ahead and stop sharing too.
Tilly, you're muted.
Like 3 times. So thank you again, Genevieve. What a great team. Every Monday, 10 a.m. Anyone wants to join us, you're welcome. Anna Rogers, we look forward to it. And it keeps growing, right? I mean, there's more in there too. I mean, this was just a short abbreviation of where we are, where we're going. And the more we take it out there, people are adding to things as well. But Ricky, I just want to share real quickly that Kelly Mayhew reached out to us and said, could we do an honors promise program? So just letting you know that as the word gets out there, people
yes,
are wanting
we
it.
can. Yes, we can. I am so excited about this. And let me, again, commend those who came together. And also let me cite that this comes out of a program, Casumas River College, where they actually closed the equity gaps for their Black and Latino males and other groups as a result of this. And to simplify a great presentation that Genevieve did, this means that our students coming to us who are first-time students, and I don't know if you all can think back to when you were a first-time student and you had to register for a college class. I was lost. And if you weren't lost, I would challenge you to go try to register for one of our classes right now and see how challenging of a task it is, to no one's fault other than CCC apply and a host of other things. But this then gives that student those classes so they already know what their classes are. And so it allows us to also work with sections and fill rates and all the things that we stress over with the start of a semester. And so I am super excited. And really, this comes full circle because at one point, my understanding is our college had a first-year experience program that was kind of modeled after this. So we're kind of coming full circle with that, realizing that our first-year students, they don't know how to do these things. It's our task to teach them how to register and all the things that are unique to our college. And that is taking into consideration. I mean, how many of us had to learn how to use the library? There's a host of available research around the success of a student just on their ability or inability to learn how to use the library. So kudos to Robbie and his team in the library. We have great librarians as we do with all of our faculty. Super excited that we're adding another all-star to the group, Anna Rogers. And yes, we can in fact have a honors core. I would be excited to have an honors cohort as part of this. Any questions about this from anyone or any additional comments? And Genevieve kind of slid in there that we're going to hire a Promise East Village counselor, and I know she's super excited because she has been advocating for that. The East Village has been advocating for that. That's another counselor. We know how important counselors are in the success of our students. So looking forward to being able to do the final interview for that position. So again, kudos, Genevieve, and your team for advocating and having a position in program review that is in fact going to get funded.
Thank you.
Did I throw program review in there real quick? Okay.
Yes.
That is our process. Any other questions or comments about the expanded Promise program?
So we're good to get started?
You know, you now have to formally get a vote. So is there a motion for approval of the expanded promise program?
This is Masa, so moved.
Thank you, Masa.
This is Susan. I'll second.
We've got a first or second. If there is any further discussion? Hearing none, if you would use your reaction button, and green being you affirmative, X being you being in opposition, and or if you would like to abstain, you can do so by muting yourself and stating so for the record. Looks like the motion carries unanimously. Thank you again, Genevieve. Always good to see you. And sorry about the confusion with that tour today.
No worries. Thank you all.
Last but not least, we are going to turn over to Marciano Perez, our Vice President of Students, to provide an update on the Student Equity and Achievement Plan.
Hi, hello, everyone. So as Ricky mentioned earlier about closing the achievement gaps, it's that time where we are going to begin to do our update on our plan. In 2018, the CIA program was established and merged funding from all three of the initiatives, SSSP, BSI, and Student Equity. And the goal was really to merge into a single program that works to erase achievement gaps for students from our traditionally underrepresented populations. And so a work group is being formed through the student journey where the student journey is going to oversee it. And then we're going to begin to recruit more faculty to join the group. And many of them have volunteered from the student journey to help write our plan. So today we wanted to just come here and just kind of plant the seed that this is the direction we're going, share with folks that we're going to begin to engage in this process, and are always looking for folks who are committed to doing this work to be a part of the process. Anna, is there anything else that I needed to share or that I've missed?
I think that's mostly it. We're just looking for additional people who want to put on your writing hats and help us develop the plan.
That's all we have, Ricky.
Thank you, Marciano. I was trying to send a message to Caesar if he could share the social justice flyer as I close out in a couple seconds. Are there any other announcements for the good of the order? Any announcements?
Well, yeah, I'm assuming you will announce the social justice, but also starting tomorrow, but also the campus open house, the community open house is coming up in April, and the student project and research symposium. So I want to make sure everybody adds that to their agendas.
Thank you, Maria Jose. Susan.
Wanted to remind folks that we do have another professional development opportunity this Thursday through our partnership with UCLA. Check your email. There was an announcement from both Caesar and from Christina Carrillo. The workshop is Thursday afternoon, and it's not too late to sign up.
Great, thank you, Susan. Sean.
Hi, everyone. I want to share our Classified Senate had an excellent tour of the campus today, recognizing the work of our classified professionals. April 14th, we're going to be having a Classified Appreciation Day, our spring event. This is invited to the campus community to come. We're going to be having some activities, some games, and some other workshops that we're going to be doing up near the Gorton Quad and cafeteria area, and that'll be April 14th. More information will be coming soon.
Thank you, Sean. Paul.
Yeah, as Maria Jose pointed out, we are once again at the time for the Social Justice and Education Conference, which a lot of work and love and sweat and tears have gone into. An amazing lineup, 2 really strong keynotes that will be starting at 9:30, and then programs that go throughout the day. So we hope as many faculty, students, and classified professionals, as well as administrators, everybody's welcome, can make it. And look at that beautiful, beautiful slide right there.
Great, thanks, Paul. And I'm just gonna, if I could, butt you real quick, Tilly, and thank you Caesar for putting up the flyer. This is a signature event of our college. Certainly we have a number of programs, but we are social justice. And I want to thank the Sankofa committee and the chairs this year, Dr. Grace and Ebony, and everyone involved with the Social Justice Conference. This conference is open to all. And each year we have a conversation about our classified professionals. So Sean, yes, that means all. Classified professionals, our amazing supervisors and managers are always in support of our classified professionals attending these learning opportunities, and that is the social justice is included in that. So it is open to anyone. We are excited about it. Again, it's our signature event along with other things that other events that we put on, like the research symposium that's coming up. So please all support our social justice conference. And again, appreciation to the committee, the Sankofa committee, for putting on a great conference. Tilly, update.
Yes, actually, I was holding the spot for John. He told me to remind him.
Thank you, Tilly. I was just texting Ricky as well. As we didn't have the roundtable on the agenda, if I may, I just wanted to mention the email that I sent out yesterday, the demolition of E-building and the parking lot 10 that'll be fenced off this week. And so there won't be any more parking after this week for 6 months. It'll take up to 6 months. And we've recommended relocating parking spaces for the president and the VPs and CIO over by the T building, one spot near me. I guess that will be you, Ricky, and recommending 3 spaces in the ECC stalls, the southwesternmost 3 stalls near the T building and the science building, temporarily until they're finished with the demolition, and hopefully we'll have temporary parking restored once they're done.
Great. I thought I saw another hand at one point.
Maria Jose?
It was me, but I just wanted to share that City College will be representing at the Academic Senate for California Community Colleges plenary. So just to let you know.
Great. And John, let's make sure with the parking lot matter that we notify East Village High School and the bookstore. Sometimes those folks are not on our email distribution, and we know that they use that particular lot. I want to also say we had a successful mental health event on campus today. Leslie and her team were there providing opportunities for meditation and yoga. They had some amazing aroma. It was good for me to just get out of my office for a quick 10 or 15 minutes. I felt my stress load go down just connecting with our colleagues in mental health. So thank you to Leslie and her team. Our new mental health counselor was there. And I'm excited to say that we're going to be hiring a second mental health counselor in the coming months as a result of state funding. And so we're hiring, folks. We're going to be hiring about 24 people this spring, and coming out of a hiring freeze. Certainly that doesn't close all of the gaps, but to hire 24 people after a hiring freeze means we're going to offer opportunity for professionals to join our city college culture and campus. So look out for announcements that'll start coming in about new people. Stop by the Student Health Center, say hi to our new mental health counselor. She was there today, as well as our other colleagues in the mental health department. This concludes our meeting of College Council. We do this every 2 weeks, same time, same place, which is via Zoom, broadcast live via YouTube. It is good to see you all. Stop by my campus open office hours. An email went out today from Janelli. I would love to see you, talk to you. Janelli has a question or comment or a...
Really quickly, I know Rich just stated that we do have College Council every 2 weeks, but please note that there will be a break due to spring break. So our next upcoming College Council meeting will be on Tuesday, April 12th.
You mean nobody wants to come to College Council during spring break? Oh, darn it. So it sounds like we had to alter the dates. So it'll be the week after spring break, Janelle?
April 12th.
April 12th. So we will see everybody again on April 12th. And for the April 12th meeting, Marciano and his team is going to provide an update on commencement. It's getting close to commencement. They're going to have an update about commencement. We're going to do a drive-through and an in-person. We're going to be back at Balboa Park. We are working on, what was the food at Balboa Park that everybody inquired about?
Mashed potatoes.
The mashed potatoes are coming back. Janelli and Ira are working on the mashed potatoes. They went up, folks. Balboa Park is not affordable anymore. So we're trying to figure that out. We may have some mashed potatoes right here on the A building patio if they don't come down on the price that they're trying to charge us for those mashed potatoes. But we will be back in person. Marciano said I've been the funniest today. He probably shouldn't have said that because I've been telling jokes all day, folks. And that's just the campus that we're at, the love. But we will be back in person for commencement. Marciano and his team will be providing an update. Marciano, I'd also like Genevieve to come back next meeting and provide an update. For the first time that I can remember, we're going to be offering scholarships to our high school students, our incoming freshmen. And we have a special student who, Marciano, I'd like to try to get to College Council maybe in May. One of our first East Village high school students is going to be graduating with their high school diploma and a 3 certificates, an AA degree. And so we want to honor her. And I'll let a little secret, don't tell her. We're going to, anybody watch Happy Gilmore? We're going to show up with a Happy Gilmore check for $5,000 for this student to show the other East Village high school students that your education indeed pays off. And so, Marcelo, let's work with Genevieve to figure out a way to get that student here to a future College Council meeting. It doesn't have to be on April 12th because we want to do the Happy Gilmore giveaway before we bring her to College Council. So we have a number of exciting things going on, folks. Number of activities. Thank you to the classified professionals who are walking around today giving out candy. Who doesn't like candy? I ate a couple Snickers this morning. Thank you, Ira, for having those Snickers in my office. It is so good to see folks in person at San Diego City College. I love this college because of each of you. Enjoy the rest of your day, folks. We'll see you at the next College Council meeting.